Everyone loves seeing the muscle ups, but they're only one small part of building real strength. The real work is everything around them, the basics, the consistency, and the exercises that keep your body healthy enough to keep progressing. So today, come train upper body with me. We're working on muscle ups, weighted pull-ups, rings, dips, L-sits, and the rehab exercises I never skip to keep my tendons strong. Whether you're chasing your first pull-up or your next advanced skill, hopefully you can take something from this session. I hadn't done any muscle ups for 2 months. That doesn't sound that long, but to me that sounds like forever. So I wanted to start with a black band, and I was feeling pretty nervous here because, like I said, I had to take some time out. Unfortunately, my tendons got quite inflamed. I am prone for tendonitis on my elbows. So I really thought about it, said a little prayer, and then went for it. It was my first time achieving a black banded muscle up since my tendonitis flare up 2 months ago. So I was super happy. I credit this to finally getting to use chalk. I think chalk was amazing, especially in the hotter weather that we've had now in the UK. It just really helps me grip the bar and not get any tears on my palms. So highly recommend. There was no pain and black band felt almost easy, so I went down to red band. This is my personal best before the tendonitis flare up. And I struggle through, but like you can see, I think I just didn't dedicate 100%. I really feel like I could have got that red banded one, and my biggest win was there was no pain. I went back to using black bands. I had several attempts, and sometimes I would make it up the bar, and sometimes perhaps my rest wasn't long enough and I didn't quite make it to the top. But I felt like this was a nice compromise, and to be honest, guys, I was just happy I wasn't feeling any pain. I was ecstatic, actually. Bruh. I hope this is proof that even though I haven't trained these for 2 months, the strength is still there. I actually think that I believe I had lost strength simply because I had lost the technique a little bit. I had forgotten that when I pull up from that muscle up, I have to commit with my whole body to really put myself across the bar and not just use my arms, because that's how you get your chicken wing muscle ups, which I don't want. If you're interested in the technicalities of the muscle up, I have a whole playlist where I go into lots more detail about how I got to this point. Now, this is my pièce de résistance, the best bit of my whole video, and the red band was where I previously had to stop my muscle up journey before my tendonitis flare up. But here, in this session, I got it. And I'm just proving my point that I said before. I don't think the 8 weeks off decreased my strength, even though mentally I felt it probably did, because this is proof, right? This is where I was 2 months ago. So yes, if any of you are currently injured watching this or have to take a break from training for whatever reason, then I hope this gives you a little bit of hope. Lightning did not strike twice, unfortunately, for this session, but I'll take my wins where I can. And I made the most that I didn't feel any pain to try again with the yellow band. I might as well have tried with some spaghetti or pasta to do this muscle up, because that's what it feels like using the yellow band. Anyway, it was just for a laugh. I'm just so happy of this win. If there's something that I hope you guys take from my videos, it's really celebrating your wins. I'm back guys, back on my red band, and we're gonna be stronger and better than ever. And how are we going to keep being stronger and better than ever? We do our rehab exercises. Yay! They're super boring but crucial, and I've learnt the hard way. Whenever I try and get rid of these, I get my tendonitis flare-ups. Now at this point, I probably just have weaker elbow tendons because they seem to flare up quite a bit, and unfortunately with this type of injury, it tends to be chronic and lives with you and has different flare-ups. Here you can see me doing a great one to loosen those triceps. So if you put your hands higher up and get closer to the wall, then it's much easier. And here you can see me going really low and positioning myself far away from the wall. So a lot of my weight is going on. That makes it much harder. This was a bit too hard. So you see, I raise my arms again and get comfortable. I do about 3 or 4 of these reps in between my muscle up attempts. Now, there are many different rehab physio exercises you can do. Like I said, my weak point tends to be my elbows, so my exercises are tailored to that. For you, it might be your wrists, your shoulder, but you know, it's good to show you these just if you wanted to incorporate them into your calisthenics training days. Some of you OGs might be familiar with this little exercise. This has been a godsend. I talk more about it when I first had my flare-up in this video if you're interested to watch. It is my favourite rehab exercise. Basically, it's not going to hurt for you to add these on to your days, and it can actually have a positive effect. You're not going to lose anything by including these exercises, so I thought, let me share these with you, but of course I'm not a physio or anything like that. Now, I know they can be super boring. You see me here checking my watch. I'm like, ugh, when is this over? I do as many reps as I can before I feel the lactic acid building up. Enough with the sensible bit, let's get back to the fun. Looks like I'm trying not to wet myself. Not using the weight belt and wanting to do a compound exercises by working on my abductors as well as my upper body when doing these ring dips. I specifically placed the parallel here just because it's easier to mount the rings and you get less swinging. If I was to jump up, you tend to swing and then you have to really stiffen your body and wait. I mean, you can still see I'm swinging there, but I'm trying my best. 5 kilogram plate for 3 to 4 reps. Next set I do the same thing because I thought it was working for me, but clearly I'm just a weight belt type of girl. Clearly need to work on my legs a bit more. Don't worry, for the third set I am back with my trusted weight belt. I love this one. It's got massive rips on it. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have it for. Anyway, I enjoyed filming because it lets me see that I don't think I'm going deep enough. I don't know. I mean, I guess it's 90 degrees. So for my next few sets, I got humbled, ditched the weights and the weight belt and decided to go extremely deep with these dips. I want to make sure with all my exercises that I'm always training at the full extent of my range of motion. And that includes going really deep in these dips. Of course, you know, sometimes I'll go a little bit less because I'm working on the strength, but here I was focusing on my mobility and my strength at those end ranges. And these are my last few sets, you can see. Again, really going past the 90 degrees that you would need to consider something a dip. I want to almost exaggerate that movement for this particular exercise. It also makes me feel super strong and capable. I'm going to insert a clip on me when I first started on the rings, just so you can see the difference. Haven't tried the P-bar L-sits on the rings for a hot minute, so I'd completely forgotten that it's nicer to do them without trainers because everyone knows they weigh 10 kilos. I was aiming to hold it for 10 seconds, really make sure my legs are elongated and not bent, and that I'm stabilizing myself. I know I'm shaking quite a lot, but that's what makes it challenging and fun to do these L-sits on the rings. I feel P-bars a little bit easy for me now. Again, I really think it's great to film yourself sometimes because I thought I was doing these fantastically well. And when you look at my legs, I think they're quite good. They stay up horizontal. I know I lose a little bit of height. But my shoulders, gosh, I didn't know I was shrugging my shoulders so much. I really have to learn to place those shoulders lower down. I'm really tense there, and that's not the aim when you do these L-sits on the rings. So I will practice these more. And we finished this 1 hour session with weighted pull-ups. Now, if you are an avid viewer of mine, you would know that I always say I place my weighted pull-ups at the beginning of my workouts. This is because they're normally the heaviest and therefore hardest exercise, so I want to make sure that I'm using all my strength. But in this training block, I wanted to put my muscle-ups first as they were harder, and I'm using a 20 kilograms weight here, which is something I've done for quite a while. I thought I'd mix things up here and hold that pull-up at the top over the bar for 5 seconds, or what I thought was 5 seconds, don't kill me if it's a bit less, and then do a negative 5 second pull-up as I get down. And also I chopped my head, so I filmed this again for you guys. I only managed 2 of these in the end because they were more difficult than I thought they would be. It really makes a difference when you hold the pull-up, whether it be weighted or body weight, whatever stage you are at in your calisthenics pull-up journey. But I think it's fantastic for really strengthening your weaker point, and my weaker point is at the top of the pull-up, I find. So that's why I decided to have a pause at that point, so over the bar and then having a slow, long negative. Here you can watch the same weighted pull-up again with the 20 kilograms, but now my head isn't cut off. That's great. So you can see I'm holding it above the chin as long as I can. I was aiming for 5 seconds and then a 5-second descent. I knew I was feeling super strong in this session because that whole workout took me an hour. Okay, like an hour 15 with the warm-up, but the actual exercises were an hour. And the rests in between these sets and reps were far, far quicker, as in they weren't as long as I usually have, because I'm usually in the gym for about an hour and a half, so I knew something was up. That was supposed to be the end, but of course, you know, with me it's never the end. So I ended the session doing 5 reps of 10 kilograms weighted pull-up. And I realized that because I'm quite fatigued and I haven't had much rest between everything, I start to flick my legs a little bit. I can do them neater. But at this point, it's just an endurance exercise that I've done without a rest in between those weighted 20 kilogram pull-ups. So I think I did quite good. Thanks for getting to this part of the video. I hope you have found this motivating, entertaining, or both. Drop me a little like in the video if you have, because it really, really helps, and I will love you so much. Thank you so much. And subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next week for a new video. Ciao!